Hey guys and girls, have I got a deal for you? Have I got a deal for you? This is for you fishermen that are beginners, that are just getting started, or it's for you old crappie and white bass and walleye guy that have flayed a bazillion of them. It's Lucky Strike's tricolor tube kit. That's right, a tube kit for catching bluegill, crappie, white bass, sauger, walleye, any kind of small fish that hit little tube baits. This little kit right here, this kit, by the way, this retails for about 12 bucks. 12 bucks. Some places you buy them a lot cheaper than that. But it retails for about 12 bucks. Got 75 pieces in it. Now, most of the pieces are tubes is what they are. 75 though, 75. It's got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 jig heads in it, 10 jig heads. And that's got some different jig heads. I'm gonna go ahead and take the top off of this here if I can. It's got little little clips on here on it. Take that so I can get that box open. Pop those staples out. Maybe pop them out. They kind of make these baits anymore where if these things are hanging on the shelf at the store, you can't open it up and take something out of it. They make them where you can't hardly get into the package. And that's a good thing, and they got to do that. They had to do that because actually what was happening was people was actually opening up package. We found it in our stores, as a matter of fact. We found it in our stores where people would open up packages and take a lure or something out and put it in their pocket with hooks on it. Or they'd sometimes take something else out and put it in their pocket and leave the package laying there. That way they could steal something. So when we found an empty package, we knew somebody had always stolen something. Now, it's a lot more difficult to get into packages now, so we have a lot more difficult time doing this. But what I want to do, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk right over here where I can lay stuff down and visit with you a little bit. And I'll just walk right off over here where I can set stuff here in the front of this, in the front of the boat and visit with you about it. Like I said, this little kit sells for 12 bucks. When you open it up, that's what it looks like. I can't hold it up here real good, but that's what it looks like. It's got 10 different jig heads in it, and they're different type jig heads. They're different size jig heads. Get that thing nice and open where it'll stay open. Lay that back there on top of it. Maybe it'll stay open. I'm going to take the first jig head out. The first jig head's a beautiful jig head. It looks like that is a 16th ounce jig head right there, 16th ounce, a painted jig head. And on this type jig head right here, all you want to do on these little tubes, and I'm going to use this little bait right here. All you want to do on these little tubes right here is you simply want to come in right in the middle of the tube like this. Now I fish barbless, so I smash the barbs down. Now your barbs help hold your soft plastics on too. So if you fish with barbs, you're gonna have a situation where your plastic will stay on better. If you fish barbless, you're gonna lose more plastic, but plastic doesn't cost that much money anyway, so real cheap. But you simply want to come up here and you simply push that tube up onto that jig head like this right here. So there's your jig head right there. That's what you want. Get a hold of the hook here if I can. That's what you want right there. There's your jig head. And there's that little tube on behind it. That is a tricolor tail is what that is right there. And there's your little jig. That's one type jig head. Now there's another jig head in here that is very similar to that, except this is an 1/8 ounce. This is an 1/8 ounce bait. It's a lot larger bait. You can see the size of it there. Exact same situation. This bait right here, I'd probably match the head color. I'd probably match the head color to the tail color. So what I'm going to do, the exact same thing, same type jig. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to put right in the very center of it, come up about to where it turns in from a soft plastic into the tube part, right up in there, come right out that middle. I've got now the hooks right in the middle. I'm going to slide that up on that. It's got a little keeper built into that jig head. It's very important to have that little keeper built into that jig head. And that's what I've got. You see that. Now that's an 1/8 ounce. So it's got a 16th ounce, 3 of those. It's got a couple of these 1/8 ounce. That's a beautiful head. That is a crappie, walleye, sauger, white bass, bluegill killer. The 16th ounce will catch them a little bit better. Now we got a couple other type jig heads in here. This jig head right here can actually be used either way. You see this jig head right here? You can actually slide the jig head. You can slide the jig head up on top of that and use it the same way we just rigged them. Or here's the other thing you can do with this jig head. I'll grab me a real pretty tail out of here. You can take this jig head right here and you can actually, if you want, take the jig head and insert it into the tube. And this is a little bit bigger around tube right here. Hard for me to know where I am, but see this tube's a little bit bigger around right there on the front. So I can actually take that, I'm gonna go in here and you can actually slide the jig head right into that tube. And so you've got the jig head all up in there like this right here. You see what I've done right there? The jig head is up in the tube. And now the jig head is hard, and so you've done that right there. Now that's one of the, and they've got another one in here that's the same way. You can do the exact same thing with, and this is again, this one right here. You see that head there? Now that has no little tail which you slide the bait up on. It has no keeper on it. The other one was a combination where you could use either way, but look at this right here. And again, you're probably better off if you wet that or put a little fish in or something on it to make it a little bit slick. And you can actually just take that and slide that up inside of the head of that bait and all the way up into the head. So now your tube is all the way up to the head. See, like this right here. See what I've got it? If I get over here. See that it's all the way up through the head. Ain't got quite all the way. And then I want to break that eye of that hook out. See, the eye of the hook is sticking out of the top of that head, and that's that you tie it on. So you got to do this before you tie it on your bait. You got to rig it like that. But now you got the jig head inside the bait, and that's all the fish is seeing that right there. Dynamite little deal. A lucky strike, 75 piece, 10 jig heads. 10 jig heads, you can't only buy 10 jig heads for very much anyway, you know, but 10 jig heads and evidently 65 pieces of soft plastic on there. Retail price is $12. If you're just starting fishing or if you've caught a bazillion fish, I promise you that you want to make sure you have one or two of these in your tackle box. Go out there, guys and girls, have you a great time. Fish lucky, and remember, I sure do love you.